afternoon, everybody, and welcome. I am Mel Soul, Director of Instruction and Master Professional at the Mel Soul Golf School here at beautiful Paulies Plantation Golf and Country Club. Today we're going to talk about reading greens. And recently, during a class where I was helping the students read the green, one of the students said to me, well, I always struggle reading greens and I constantly misread greens. And I said to him, well, you know, if you constantly mishitting your chips, what do you do about it? He said, well, I go and practice my chipping. I said, if you're playing bad bunker shots, what do you do? He said, I go and practice my bunker shots. I said, have you ever practiced reading greens? And he kind of looked at me and said, no, I've never thought about that. You want to practice reading greens, and then once you've read the green, hit the putt and see whether you read the green correctly or not. And if you didn't, bring the ball back and look again and see what you missed. So I've got 3 balls out on this putting green, and all 3 of them are slightly different. So if I take this first putt and I look at it, what I want to do is look through the area that I'm putting where the highest point is. Now, the flag is obviously above me, so I know that I'm putting uphill, but I've also got the side to the right is a little higher than the side to the left, so this putt is going to break very, very slightly, not very much, but very, very slightly. It's going to break that way. Again, here it's obvious that because the green is higher on that side, the slope is going that way, and so I know this putt's going to break from right to left. But how much? So I want to look, and I want you, if you watch the PGA Tour and LPGA Tour players, you'll see they do a 360 around the hole every time they putt. Most amateurs don't do that. But if you walk and at some point over here, right there, I can feel the change in direction where it starts going downhill. So this point right here is what we call the fall line. Here it's still coming up, there it's going down, so right here, so my ball is slightly to the left of the fall line. So if I take this line here, and I take that line there, and I kind of halve it, this here, about 3 or 4 inches to the right of the hole, is my read on that particular putt. Now this putt over here, different part of the green, so now the highest point is right here. There is definitely higher, so this slope goes down that way, so I know that this part of the green, it slopes that way, but at the hole it's going to flatten out a little bit, so it's going to, I've got so this is most probably also going to be just, you know, 3 or 4 inches on the left. So use your feet. I remember reading an article years ago that Ben Hogan wrote, and he said, I read the green with my feet. And I was confused, and I thought, how can you read the green with your feet? If you've got shoes on, thinking that he was saying he could feel it through his shoes. No, that's not what he was saying. He was saying, I can feel slope. I can feel slope with my feet, and so you can judge how much slope. And so now if I decide this putt is, let's say, 4 inches to the left, so I'm going to set my line up on my ball, and I put 4 inches to the left. I'm going to go ahead here and hit this putt. Let my line on my putter match the line on my ball. Now, it turned more than 4 inches. So now what I would do is I'd bring, I'm going to leave my putter down. same spot and say, okay, what did I miss? What did I not see that's going to make this putt break even more? And I look back this way, now all of a sudden this slope is huge. This is about a 4-degree slope going this way. So now when I stand here, I can say, okay, now I can see that the putt's going to be much further out because this slope here is very strong. So now I can see where I made the mistake was not that I misread it from back there, it's that I didn't come to the other side. So you want to do your 360, that way you'll always be at least reading the green closer. Nobody can ever read a green perfectly. If we could, you know, it would be wonderful. But there's always that element, even if you have exactly the same putt. You know, you've done this yourself many times where you're practicing your putting and you hold 3 or 4 in a row so you know the exact line, and you pull up one and you putt and all of a sudden it breaks more than the other 3 or 4 did. You're like, where did that come from? I don't know. This is an alive thing. This grass is an alive thing. It's growing, so it can move the ball when you're not expecting it to. So practice reading greens. Your skill on the golf course will improve. You'll sink more putts.